Hello, my name is Dylan Braun, and my capstone project was on the Electoral College, along with pros, cons, and reform options. What is the Electoral College? The Electoral College was created by the Founding Fathers as a compromise between congressional and popular vote. And basically, the Founding Fathers wanted the people to have a significant say in the election of their president, but they also wanted a backup to where if they knew the people were not electing a person that was in it for them, then they had the electors to as a backup plan. And electors are appointed based on congressional delegation and population of states. This this whole system promotes federalism, and it is an advantage towards a direct democracy system, which the founding fathers wanted to avoid. The importance of this topic lies in that it is already a highly debated topic. And as our country is changing every day, we also have changing cultures and beliefs. And this is important because we need people to know that the reason we have the Electoral College is to avoid the tyranny of the majority and to have these electors as a backup. Some advantages to the Electoral College is that it protects small state influence. So, whereas in a national popular vote, the smaller states with a lower population would not have as much of an impact as they do in the Electoral College, where they have electors. The Electoral College also encourages building relationships across regions. So presidential candidates will visit many different regions instead of just sticking in states like California or New York, where populations are high and they can get the most influence. It also prevents a national recount chaos where, whereas in a direct democracy, if there is a very close election, there will be a lot of uproar and a possibility that a national recount would be attempted, which would be complete chaos and it would be not very feasible. The Electoral College also supports a stable two-party system, whereas a more direct democracy would be an entryway for smaller political parties, and eventually that could lead to political fragmentation, which means, which is basically having multiple different, so many political parties that your country is divided so much to the point where during an election, you really don't have a single party that wins. Because if you have four parties and one party wins, you have three other parties that are upset and that don't like the candidate. Some reform proposals that have been brought up recently, the most significant one is a National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, or the MPVIC. This is basically an agreement between participating states that they will appoint their electors to the winner of the national popular vote, regardless of how their state voted. Currently, there are 17 states that are a part of this MPVIC, and they make up 209 of the electoral votes. This means that we would only need 61 more electoral votes to gain majority and basically political agreements for this to work. Another solution that has been brought up but is very radical is abolition of the Electoral College. This will likely never happen as it will require a constitutional amendment, and constitutional amendments are politically they are very hard to do. Additionally, there has also been proportional allocation of electoral votes or of votes that has also been proposed. And this means that on the federal level, they would take a percentage of each party that received votes. So if one party received 45% of votes and another party received 55, they would take 45% of rolls and give it to a certain party and 55% and give it to the other party. Some disadvantages to the Electoral College is that it violates one person, one vote principle. So basically, in states that don't mean as much, your vote still technically is one vote, but it might not seem like it, as you are not having the full significance as someone in a swing state would. Also, the winner takes all system lowers voter turnout, as those people in the safe states just do not see the point in going out to vote, as their state has already practically been predetermined before the election. And campaigns also focus heavily on swing states when compared to safe states. They will only go to the swing states because they know that the votes there will ultimately determine the election. Some examples from recent elections would be the most significant example being in 2000, where Al Gore versus George W. Bush. Al Gore actually won the popular vote by 543,000 votes. However, George W. Bush won the Electoral College through Florida, and he won Florida by 537 votes, which is only a 0.009% margin. And this means that a vote in Florida would have been 3,000 times more meaningful than a vote in a safe state like Utah that year. This caused a lot of uproar from this election because people could not fathom how close the election was, and they demanded recounts. Also in 2016, with Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but Trump won the election via the Electoral College. In conclusion, I learned the most about the 2000 election. I had no idea about the 2000 election until I did the research for this project, and it was hard to believe that an election could be that close. And I thought it was interesting that the votes in Florida were 3,000 times more meaningful. This project has also helped me to become a more informed voter for my future when I'm voting in elections. It helps me know what my vote is doing and what it's going towards. My favorite part about this project was researching alternatives to the Electoral College. I thought it was interesting to learn about the MPVIC and how it would work, and that it actually is a very viable alternative. But that's it. Thank you for listening to my presentation.